But it's better now, so good. That's great. Like I said, we have everybody got a handout that's here. Great. We are also streaming this on Facebook, so sometimes I might talk to the camera too while I'm talking, because everybody that's watching on Facebook, if you go over to baumanfarms.com, right on the homepage, there should be either like one of the sliders rolling by, or you can go up to the class section, and we have a handout on there, and I'm going to kind of reference that handout as we continue through the class. So if you want to, we'll get started here in just a minute. If you want to pull that up, it might make life a little easier to follow along. But that handout will be a good agenda for this class. Come on down. Like I said, I knew we had a couple more people coming.
We're here.
Yeah, I was waiting for you.
All right.
I didn't want to get started until you got here.
Thanks for waiting.
That's all right. I mean, I think you're like 30 seconds late, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'm sure there'll be people that come and go as we get here. While we're getting started, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian. The blue house is the house that I grew up in. The store, I always tell people there's no master plan here at Bauman Farms. It was like, well, let's try this and see what happens. And when I was 8 years old, my dad built my mom a little roadside, like the building all the way to the left as you go over to the store was our first little roadside produce stand. And it was just a little shack with a roll-up garage door. The people pulled up and honked their horns. And us kids would come running out of the house like, woohoo, we have a customer. And that's how we got started. And then we moved on from there, and everything got a little bigger, and put up a greenhouse in the parking, and then it's, as you can see, we're working on the greenhouses again this year, trying to make ourselves a little more space, because we are so lucky to have so many great customers come and hang out with us. Like I said, that blue house is where I grew up, and my office is in there now. And I always like to tell people that I have gone really far in life. I literally am next door, or next room over from my bedroom as a child. So it's fun and kind of sad all at the same time. But we love it. We're so lucky. My mom and dad are still here. They live out in the field. They're not here today, but they're here all the time. Every December we sit down, we have a family meeting, and every December they tell me we are retiring. And I look at them and I say, what does that mean? And typically the conversation goes, there are things we don't want to do anymore. They will still be here all day. My dad will still be up at 5 o'clock and not get done until 10 o'clock at night. And they have earned the right to do what they want to when they want to. And that's the job of, I have 3 younger sisters. The youngest one, Sarah, works on the farm with me, and our husbands work with us. And my kids, my daughter's in the coffee shop. It truly is a family business, and all of our employees are family. They get to deal with all the family drama that that goes with working with your sister, and it's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. How many people here have ordered a custom hanging basket with us before? Oh, I love it. This is exciting. Great.
My daughter picked one up though.
Perfect. So let's start from the beginning. This class today is really going to go over all of the plants that I have chosen for our shade hanging baskets. We're going to talk about all the different plants, how I put them together, the things that I like to do. And this is really an opportunity to you at the end of the class to say, Brian, I really want a hanging basket. I want it to be this size, and I want you to put these plants in the basket. And I don't care if you order one hanging basket or you order 20, 100, whatever. This is about giving you the opportunity to order something that's customized just for you. And if you get done and you say, I don't know if what I want, how I want to do it, I just came for the information, that's totally fine. You have until the end of January. And once the end of January comes, everything that I have will be planted. And it's kind of over at that point because it's all planted, because it takes a long time to get a really beautiful full shade hanging basket ready to go. You're fine, ladies, come on in. It just, especially fuchsias, and we started planting fuchsias the middle of November. It just takes that long to get a really big, nice full fuchsia. And we'll talk about the different types of fuchsias and stuff. But this is really just an informational class for you. And at the end of it, we have a little, did everybody get a little form to fill out? If you want to, at the end, I'll go through how to fill out that form. Then we just ask for a small down payment on the basket. You'll take it into the front counters whenever you want or if you want. And then that's where we come and play, and we get to build your basket. We will actually plant it all up exactly how you want. And we've already had discussion about what I will be singing, but we will be out there singing to them, checking on them. It is absolutely the most favorite part of my job. There's lots of things going on. We're always so busy, and I always try and take a break and just walk in the greenhouse. And I check on them, see how they're growing, what's happening, and even from day to day, you see a difference. And it's just so relaxing to go out there and see them growing. It's my favorite thing to do. And I love making hanging basket combinations. I was interviewing somebody earlier this morning, and they said, well, what do you like about your job? And I love choosing all the different types of flowers that are available and putting together combinations. But I have a certain way of doing it, and other people, like my brain only thinks a certain way. And it is so inspirational to see all the different things that you create, because I may not have ever put those colors together or put that foliage together, and you get the opportunity to create something, and it's super inspirational for me to go out and see all of your creations. And then when you come pick them up, we put on there that these hanging baskets will be ready about the 1st of May, around Mother's Day. That is a guesstimate, right? I don't know what Mother Nature is going to throw at us between here and there. So you're always welcome to call and check. Brian, go check on my hanging basket. How's it doing? Are we ready? And it may be too cold to put begonias outside yet. And we'll tell you to wait a week or two. But we'll have that conversation as we get going. So that's kind of how the program works. Questions? Good. We're doing good so far. And by all means, raise your hand, yell at me. This is informal. It'll be fun. So let's talk about the different size of baskets and how many plants you put in a hanging basket. These are the sizes that we grow. So this is a 12-inch hanging basket. And when we say 12 inches, we're talking about the diameter across the top. You will see a lot of garden centers, a lot of big mass marketing people growing baskets that are smaller than a 12-inch. This is the smallest I will go, because the amount of water that you need during the summer when it's really hot, you may have to water this twice during a day. When it's really hot and your basket's really full. If you go smaller than this, there's just no way to keep enough water in it to keep your hanging basket looking good all summer long. If it's a 10-inch or smaller, I think of it as like decor. It's going to look good for a month, maybe 2, and that's it. This basket should last you all summer. At the bottom of our baskets, we have a water reservoir so that it holds extra water for you. And that works great when it's in the 80s. When we hit 90s, this really should be watered twice a day. So keep that in mind. And I often, at home, I have a drip irrigation system because I don't have time to do it twice a day. If you have questions about that, we're happy to help. This is 12 inches, and I put 5 plants in here. Okay? I'm going to put 4 around the outside and 1 in the center. That is a nice full basket. You don't really want to do more than that. Now, when you're creating your own custom basket, you could put 5 different plants in there. That is your prerogative. It would drive my mind crazy. I love things to all work together. I want harmony in my life. Life is too crazy. And I love this class because I get a great opportunity to pick on Mary. Mary, say hello to everyone. This is Mary. Mary, how long have you worked here? How many? 15. She's still here and comes back for more. I love it. Mary would be just fine putting 5 different plants in a hanging basket. And she would come and she'd take pictures of it and she would tell me how beautiful it is. And when she did and I looked at her pictures, I would say, that's nice. Because it's too crazy for me. I really like, if I'm going to put 4 around the outside, I like to put 2 of one kind opposite each other. On the other side, I'm going to put 2 of one kind opposite of each other, and I'll put a third different variety in the middle. So for me, I really want to pick 3 different types of plants that are going to work together in a 12-inch basket. And that's going to form that nice big ball of color that looks great, makes Brian feel good, looks harmonious, but you absolutely have the right to put 5 different plants in there. Right. That's totally fine. Yes, question?
How do you know whether you've watered it enough on each water?
Sure. The question is how do you know when you've watered it enough? Couple things. These hanging baskets need fertilizer. So when I water, I try to fertilize at least once a week at home. And when I'm watering it, I'm going to water it until the water comes pouring out the bottom. Now, there are plenty of times that people come to me and say, I did exactly what you said, Brian. I put my hose up there, I watered till it came out the bottom. It came out instantly, I knew it was watered. And then I say, that's nice. How was your vacation? And they go, what? Well, we just got back from the coast. How did you know? And I knew that they had been gone a couple days, because when a hanging basket gets so dry, the soil, it just tries to squeeze every last ounce of water out, and you end up with this gap around your basket, so that when your hose when your water hits the top, it just runs around the side and down the bottom. If that happens, you need that root ball to soak that water back up and expand. And you can do that by either putting the hose up there and counting to 30, or putting it in like a bucket of water for a little while. You want to water it every day until the water comes out the bottom. One of the reasons why it's important for the water to come out the bottom is because when you fertilize and you don't rinse that all the way through, whatever fertilizer that's in there that's not getting used builds up in the soil. So at least once or twice a week, I like to use just regular water, and I want to flush that basket out so that nothing builds up in the soil. So I am watering it until the water comes pouring out. If you have a drip system, the very first time you turn it on, depending on your water pressure, the type of drip that you use, it could all depend on how long that drip system needs to go on. So I'll watch it the first time. I'll say, how long do I need that drip system to go before the water starts coming out the bottom? And that just depends.
So if it's coming out the bottom, what about the reservoir?
So the question is what about the reservoir? So in the bottom of the basket, there's a gap that holds about a quarter of a gallon, so there's extra water there. That will still stay full. So inside the basket, there's where the holes are at, it's kind of raised up, so the water's around the outside. So even if the water's coming out the bottom, you still end up with this much water kept inside there. Good? Yes? So the question is, how can you overwater? During the summertime, you probably could not. When it is 80 degrees, you probably could not overwater. It's possible. I'm sure we could figure that out, but not rarely. When it's cold outside, the basket's not using up a lot of water. And especially with plants that like the shade, they can rot off. So the easiest thing to do to know, and we do this at the farm all the time. Your basket's hanging, right? We want to come up, I should grab a full one, and I pick it up. If it is light, it is time to water. If it is so heavy that I can barely lift it up, don't water it. Just let it go. And that differs depending on where you're at, how much is in the basket, but you will get a sense of that very quickly. Just pick it up from the bottom, and you'll know that if it's light or heavy. And we can talk about it when you pick up your basket. Like, I can hang it up for you. We can have that conversation. And Jessica, say hi. This is Jessica. Jessica is amazing, and it was so funny. Her job title is social media manager and whatever else comes along in the day. But Jessica is the one behind the computer, and she answers all of your questions online. So if you're like, I think I'm overwatering, take a picture, message us. Jessica's office is right next door. She comes running in. She's like, oh my God, you'll never believe what this lady just sent in. Or we get lots of times we get pictures like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And so she's on it like that. I think when she first started, like, my mom was like, oh my God, it can't take that much long. Jessica she spends a lot of time answering questions online. So at any time, do not feel, snap a photo, send it to us online. We'll get right back to you. Jessica is, even like Sunday night at 8 o'clock, I'm like, oh geez, Jessica, put the phone down. 12-inch baskets. Next size up is a 14-inch. Now you can see this is only 2 inches wider on the top, but it's significantly larger. There's a lot more soil volume in here than in here, okay? In this basket, I like to use between 7 and 9 plants, okay? I think I say 3 to 4 different varieties on there. So again, I'm pairing them. 2, 4, 6, 1 in the middle, 7. You could go up to 9 and still be okay. But that's what I would, can you put 7 different plants in there? Absolutely. I will smile when you pick it up. And I will tell you, that's nice. To each their own, it's totally fine. And it's nice to see different things, but this is a 14-inch. The next one up is an 18-inch, and you can see again, it's significantly larger in terms of soil volume. One of the benefits of this basket is it spins. I don't know, can you see that, Jessica? So the top of the hanger will rotate. So if you have a really windy condition, if you have a side of your front porch or something that gets morning sun, you could turn it so that it gets more sun. It is pretty heavy. When this is full and full of water, this is gonna weigh over 50 pounds. So you want to make sure that whatever this is hanging from can handle 50 pounds. This is pretty heavy. But the nice thing about it, the level of the soil volume is so large that even when it's 90 degrees, like if you really water it, once a day you probably get by. It's the benefit of having a bigger basket with more soil. Okay? This basket, I put about 10 to 12 plants in. 5 to 6 different varieties. This is 18-inch. Last but not least, this is the basket that we use for the cities. By far the biggest, by far the most soil volume, 10 to 12 plants again. This basket's gonna be close to 100 pounds at the end of the summer, full of water. Again, it will rip the siding off your house. Like, you need to have something really heavy duty for this. Works great, you only have to water it once, it's big, it's full, but it's heavy. Questions on basket size? Yeah.
I don't know what you call that material that's in the 18-inch. I love that. You have that.
So the question is on the material of the basket. So this is a pulp, it's a paper. It works great. I find it only lasts for about 1 season. It'll break down over time, and even at the end of summer sometimes I find it falling apart, but in an 18-inch this works pretty good. One of the problems I have is in today's world, like, it just seems like cost is going up on everything. Every time you go to the grocery store, it's going back up. We try really hard to keep our costs down, and I should have more, but the cost difference between this and plastic or this, because you can get this in a pulp, is like $4 or $5. And so it would be, this would go from a $40-some basket to a $50-some basket in the pulp. And until they get, I just think that's too much for a small basket. Now, you know, and we could definitely, I mean, I could buy some.
No,
And
I'm thinking more than 14.
yeah, they have it in it too. And if that's, you know, it's less plastic is always a good thing. Proven Winners this year is coming out with a new pot that is made, it's made from like corn, and it's biodegradable. It'll only last one season. They have it in 4-inch. We're going to be one of the first places in the Northwest that have it. It's more compostable. It'll like break down, which I think is great, but it's pretty heavy duty. And what I'd love for them to do is get that kind of in a basket that's larger. So I'm hoping that's coming down the line, because plastic is the black eye of the nursery industry. We have tons of plastic. Everything you buy is in plastic, and that's going nowhere to an industry that prides itself on plants, right? Nature, and it's a problem, but we're working on it. Other questions? Doing good? Yes?
The twerking hanger, can you put that on the smaller ones?
It's a cost thing too. This is significantly more expensive, but we can get it for a 14-inch. It's a couple dollars more, and we can figure that out. It's available if that's important to you. Yeah. Doing good? All right, let's move on. Let's start talking about some plants. So the first page I want you guys to turn to is the begonias. I love begonias. I searched the world for good begonias for a hanging basket. And I have been tweaking this a lot lately, because a lot of the begonias I've been growing the last couple of years have not worked. They look good in a catalog. They're beautiful. I see them in the summertime. They look great. But in order for me to deliver a hanging basket to you at the 1st of May, I need to be able to grow that begonia now. I have them planted out back. This is what they look like right now. And I have thousands of these. I need to be able to grow this plant in January and get it to grow big. And to be honest, the last couple of years, a lot of people have put begonias in their custom hanging baskets. And when they pick it up, they're like, where's the begonia? And the problem is they just don't keep up with everything else, and they grow so slow during the winter time. So I've really changed this list this year for more varieties that I can be more successful with during the winter, so that when you pick it up, it's going to have lots of begonia flowers. So the first ones that are on there, Viking Red, this is a big plant. The first couple begonias are big. I had several people put it in a 12-inch basket last year and picked it up, and I was like, oh wow. It was like this big around. Like, it was gorgeous, but it was too big for them in their home. Illuminations. Illumination begonias are your more traditional tuberous begonia. They come out with all these new begonias, and everybody's excited. And these, I just went back to tried and true this year. They've been around for a long time. They have gigantic blossoms. They send out these kind of long arms, and in a windy spot, sometimes they can break in the wind. But they have the most beautiful, full flowers. It is a throwback to my grandma. It is that traditional begonia, and they trail like 3 to 4 feet. Really pretty, and at the end of the day, the traditional work better right now. Until they get some of these newer varieties working, I went back to all of these. Great range of color, really, really nice. Last on that list is canary wings. It is a dragon wing type begonia like those very first ones, except for it's much more compact. It is not nearly as vigorous as the first begonias. Really pretty, blooms all summer, takes the full shade, will take morning sun. All of these will take morning sun just fine. But sun afternoon is where we get into trouble. Questions on begonias? Yes. So the question is, can you grow these in the ground? And the answer to all of these is yes. I find that the dragon wings, the hulas, they're going to get you more bang for your buck in the ground or in a pot. Illuminations want to trail. And would they grow in the ground? Yes. But there is a sister plant called nonstops, which have similar blossoms but are going to be more upright. And you'll want those for in the ground than the illuminations, because they're going to want to trail. Non-stop. Yeah. We will. And I'll have those in like 4-inch pots, end of April, 1st of May, depending on what Mother Nature's doing. Doing good? Yes.
Solar begonia.
Solar begonias. There's begonias called Salinas, which are very similar to that Betula, but will take more sun. We will have those in 6-inch and 4-inch for containers. I don't have them in baskets. The stuff that I put in there, they end up getting taken over, and you don't see them. And I don't know, it seems pointless. But we do have them available individually. Yes?
Do the deer like them?
The deer will love them. They will be thrilled when you hang it up. It'll be great. They'll be there just like that.
That's nothing you would put.
No. They're just, I mean, you're welcome to feed the deer. I mean, other questions? Good. Let's flip the page. Let's go to the next stuff. So to me, one of the most important things in a really great shade hanging basket is color. There's lots of vines you can use, there's lots of foliage, but I want that big ball color out my front door. I want color. And I have added more impatiens to that list because impatiens are just a great way to add color to your shade hanging baskets. The first one there are called magnums. Magnums have a blossom that is at least this big. They're gigantic. This is what they look like right now. And the flower size will be that big on them. They're gigantic. They're self-cleaning, self-deadheading. You don't have to pick the flowers or seeds off of these guys. They do not like afternoon sun. Morning sun is just fine. Afternoon sun will burn them. Guaranteed. So this is definitely for shade. These are more upright. They're not really going to trail. I put these in a basket. I'll put them in the center. I'll put them on the side, kind of pairing them with some trailers. But a basket of just these will just be a ball of color on top. So it kind of depends what's important to you, but just know these are going to go more up. But great for color. There's a nice range there. All of them kind of grow similar. There's a new one for all the staff that's listening that is called Violet Star this year that we've never had before. I saw it in trials last year. It was beautiful. Nice kind of two-tone color. It's brand new this year. Now let's go to the next line there on that page. There are different types of impatiens. And I think it's about 5-6 years ago now, there's a fungus called downy mildew. And what it looks like, it's usually on the underside of the leaves, and it's kind of got this long white, not super long, but like a chunk of long white stuff on the bottom. And that is a fungus. And the thing that made this so terrible is that the spores of it will live in the soil. So even if you remove the plant, put something else, it came right back. So several varieties of impatiens were very susceptible to it, and once you got it, you could never get rid of it. They now have impatiens that are resistant to that. And that whole line there is the beacons are a traditional, what do they call them? Busy Lizzie, what do you call it, Mary? Busy Lizzie, traditional impatiens. There's nothing really exciting other than that they are disease resistant. They will not get the downy mildew like the old varieties did. This I think is I think it might be the first year they're available. I've seen them in trials. They look great. You can plant them in the ground, in your hanging baskets. Great way to add color and not deal with that fungus. They have stuff you can spray on the fungus now to fix it. The other thing that you want to watch for, besides the white, is that the leaves will start to drop off. And if your leaves are dropping off, something's going on. That's when you take a picture and send it to Jessica. And me and Jessica will troubleshoot and figure out what to do. But these are disease resistant, which is great. That's their claim to fame. The Rockapocos are a double. These are all in the Proven Winners line. Beautiful, kind of like mini roses. The thing that Mary and me were talking about this the other day, I put the Rockapocos back in the series this year. She says, that's great. Make sure you tell them that they do kind of drop their blossoms on the ground. So if this is on the front porch or patio, they, just like a fuchsia, they'll drop their blossoms, but you kind of got to sweep it off every now and then. Or they kind of stain the deck. Sometimes you got to wash it off. And that's their downfall. But bloom all summer, easy to take care of, great way to add some color to your hanging baskets. They will mound, so they kind of go up and then go down. They're really good, but they do kind of shed their blossoms. They can be a little messy. Ready? Good? Next page. We're doing good. I'm ready.
Had any of the shade or the sun-loving impatiens?
So the question was, have I had any of the sun-loving impatiens? And there's lots of them now. There's some called sun standing. There's some they just call sun patients. They are more like your traditional New Guineas. They will take full sun. The key with them too is you've got to keep them wet. If they dry out in the sun, they're not happy. But we grow them, we'll have them available. But for the shade program, I think these are better. But there is tons that will take more sun. Coleus, there has been a lot of new Coleus coming out that is trailing, that is absolutely beautiful. Chocolate Drop, there's Chocolate Drop and Strawberry Drop are in the Proven Winners line. How many people here are familiar with Proven Winners? Heard that name before? It's in all the gardening magazines. Proven Winners is a brand. It's like Nike or Adidas and what they do is they go around the world and they try to find the best plants in each category. So they have several Coleus that they patent, they swoop up under their brand, and they say these are the best Coleus. And some of them are Chocolate Drop, Strawberry Drop, and they have a new one this year called Cherry Drop. Excellent Coleus. They are fairly vigorous, so they really kind of go up and then mound out. The Strawberry Drop has this beautiful like pink center to the leaves. The Chocolate Drop is almost exactly the same but has a dark center. And then the Cherry Drop is new this year. The whole leaf is much brighter red. It is a more, it's a brighter Coleus, but it's pretty vigorous. I would only put that like in the center. I'd only put one in a combination, because if you put 2 or 3 in a combo, like you got Coleus coming out of your ears. It's very vigorous, very easy to be successful with, will take more sun than a lot of other Coleuses. The other line of Coleus that I have in there is the Fall series. So there's Angel Falls, and I'll have all these up here. You can come and take a look. Angel Falls, Niagara Falls, Rose Gold Falls, Yosemite. This is Yosemite. These are much more compact. They can get overrun with other stuff if it's too vigorous, but they're easier to control in a hanging basket. And they have a different range of colors than the Drop series. But great way to add color and texture to a flower hanging basket through the foliage. All of them are really easy and great. Let's talk about some other vines. Dichondra is the first one that's on there. It's hard to find a good silver. You don't find a lot of plants that have silver foliage. Dichondra is great. And the thing about Dichondra is it goes straight across the basket and goes straight down. And so it's just important. It's not going to go up. It is going to go straight across and straight down, and it'll get 3-4 feet long. Ours, we had some in a pot. In fact, it might still be out there. It was doing great until we hit about 12 degrees. And then it was not happy anymore. It's not happy. We left it out there as an example, right, Mary? It might make it, but the leaves are nice. But the rest is good. Great for silver, comes down. We have several different spider plants. Very traditional, you see them in the house. They work great in a mixed shade hanging basket. So a great way to add color and texture. This is a nice solid green one. You can see how it kind of spills out with some impatiens, maybe some fuchsias and a begonia. Great, easy to take care of, looks good all summer. Will it die in the wintertime if you leave it outside? Absolutely. We guarantee. It is just for the summertime. This is a variegated one. You can see it's a straight variegation, straight up in the center with the arms coming down. Great way to add color and texture. And this one is called Bonnie's Curl. It's a curly spider plant. You can see it's much more compact than the other two, but this will keep going. And it'll get 3 to 4 feet long by the end of the summer. Has these little kind of arms that come. I think it's beautiful in a hanging basket. Great for mixed combinations. Sweet potato vine. Yes, go ahead. Spider plants are not toxic to plants. I have to double check on the dichondra. Potato vine would be fine. We'll talk about that next. And the Lysimachia should be fine. The creeping jenny or chocolate creeping jenny. But I'll double check on the dichondra. I'm not sure on that one. So it's funny, I go over to my friend's house the other day, and on his counter, he had sweet potatoes on his counter. And he's like, "You'll never believe where I found these." And I was like, "In your containers?" It's like, did a bird drop them in there? How'd they get there? What's going on? And I'm like, no. So the sweet potato vine, this is what they look like when they come to me. It's just great for foliage for your hanging baskets. And they do make little sweet potatoes. So this is what we start with. And we'll plant them up out back and get them started. Then we add them to our hanging baskets. It comes in different colors. I like the green. I think it takes the shade the best. There are other colors, but the green I think is really good for a nice chartreuse color for your hanging baskets. And it will grow sweet potatoes, yeah. We do. Yep, so if there's something you don't like is not on that list, but you're like this early in the game, I can get a lot of things. And I have things coming for other ones. Creeping jenny is another great foliage item. There's golden creeping jenny and there's chocolate creeping jenny. Here, I got the chocolate too. The chocolate is really pretty. It has kind of a yellow flower in the summertime that's also really nice. The gold will get a yellow flower as well, but I find it takes a year or two. It needs to be like an established plant to really flower. The gold survives really well. This one does not survive over the winter as well. But chocolate, great color for your hanging baskets. Other questions about those guys? Woohoo! Moving on to the next page. All right, let's talk fuchsias. One of the most important things with fuchsias is you don't, I think deadheading is misleading because it's not the dead flowers you want to take off on a fuchsia. Fuchsias do need to have their seed pods removed. So a plant's job in life is to reproduce. It grows, produces a flower, flower gets pollinated, it makes a seed, it's reproduced, and it's done. And a fuchsia, that is its life. My sole goal in life is to reproduce, make those seeds, and I'm done. So by July, typically, they are not, lots of people come in and say that fuchsias aren't blooming anymore. And it's because right behind the flower, they'll be like, it starts out green and then it almost turns like a dark purple when it's ripe. And once it produces that dark purple seed, the fuchsia's done. Like, I did my job. I'll drop those seed pods and off I go. So when they're green, you really need to remove them. You need to pull those seed pods off. And that's what's going to keep your fuchsia going throughout the summer. Autumnal is absolutely beautiful. It has that kind of orangey and red foliage. I like it more for the foliage. In fact, Mary and me were talking the other day and she says, I hate those flowers. I just want the foliage because the foliage is so pretty. One of the things about autumnal is it sends out these long arms. And don't be afraid to pinch it back. So if you take those arms as they're coming out and just take the tip of it off, then that branch gets bigger and you get more of that foliage coming out. If you don't, it wants to send out those long arms, it puts flowers on the end of the arms, and then that's kind of all you get. So it's one of the reasons why we start fuchsias so early, because when a fuchsia start comes in, we'll take the tip out, we wait about 2-3 weeks, then we'll take the next tips out, then we wait about 2-3 weeks, then we take the next tips out, and we do that about 5 times. And it takes that long to get it to branch and really fill out so you have a nice full basket. So autumnal is first on there. Then you have Blackie, which is probably what I would say is one of the least vigorous fuchsias. Doesn't get really big, has really dark flowers with a nice red outside. Blue eyes, dark eyes are what I would call your standard fuchsia hanging baskets. They get fairly big, beautiful flowers, really nice. Eruption is a fuchsia that I found in the back of a greenhouse on Whidbey Island about 5 years ago. And I saw this fuchsia in the back, and it looks like Gardenmeister, which is an upright fuchsia that has kind of those firecracker flowers on it, but this one trails. I had Dennis the 7Ds was up looking through our greenhouse. He's like, oh my God, where did you get that? And they got a whole bunch of them. It's one of our most popular ones now. Lots of people come in and get it. It flowers continuously, better than most. It has kind of smaller branching. Mary, how would you describe it?
Well, like you said, it's not as vigorous as well, so it doesn't get
Right.
but it produces
Yeah, like Mary was saying, it doesn't have the long branching. It has smaller, more branches, and it flowers much longer and more floriferous than some of the other varieties. But it is more compact than a dark eyes or a blue eyes. Lena is a fuchsia that I would describe as more goes straight across the basket and goes down. So I like to pair varieties like that with something to fill out the center. A lot of fuchsias will get kind of woody in the center of their baskets, and it looks not very exciting by the end of the summer. So I like to put something in there to fill it up. New Millennium is by far the most vigorous fuchsia I've ever grown. It's huge. If you're doing a big basket and you want fuchsias, put New Millennium in there. It's very, very big. Pink Marshmallow is like Lena in that it will go down, and it has just that really nice big flower, kind of a pale pink, almost white. It's a soft pink, but really great plant. Yes. All of these will trail. Yep. Yes.
How many fuchsias would you put?
So the question was how many fuchsias. In a 12-inch, you could put 2, maybe 3 with one in the center. I wouldn't put more than that. I'd pair it with something else for a mixed shade. When we plant a solid fuchsia basket, we plant 5 plants in there, 4 around the outside, 1 in the center. In a 14-inch, 2 to 4, 18-inch, 2 to 4, and I think that's enough because I want something else in there. That's just me personally. Other questions about fuchsias? All right, let's talk Tradescantias. There are different types. These are some more, just what we call like fillers, things to add texture and color to your mixed baskets. And I have this one came out 4 or 5 years ago, and it was still one of our best-selling annuals. This is called Nanook. It will look like this from the moment it just goes and goes and goes. It does produce like a light purple, light pink flower, but it's all about the foliage. It has really kind of thick arms that come out. It's great. I've put this with white impatiens and like a silver falls dichondra coming out. Just that kind of nice light color I think is so pretty. But I saw this one online and I finally found it out of Canada 2 years ago, and we finally have enough of it. This will be the first year that it's available. This one is called Sweetness. And you can see, if you looked at the picture side by side, they're very similar. The difference is you can see how smaller the leaves are on Sweetness and how many more leaves there are. It fills in a basket much better, I think. It's a little lighter on color. It's not quite as dark of a pink. But I personally like this one a little more because I think it fills out a little better. Depends on what you're pairing it with. But 2 different options, really easy to take care of. They do not like the afternoon sun. Morning sun is just fine. They make great houseplants. You can bring them inside. A lot of people, especially on the Nook, it'll turn brown. And all you gotta do is kind of pinch that brown part off. And then it'll flush some new growth and off it goes again. But really great, easy to care for plants. I got a big guy back here. So on plants that we can grow ourselves, we keep what we call stock plants. This one goes by a couple different names. Guacamole, I think is what I put on there. Mary, what were the other names we used to call this? Tricolor? I don't remember. Troy's Gold, I think was another name for it at one point in time. This is a Plectranthus. Kind of what you see is what you get. It looks like this all the time. It does not like the afternoon sun, but you can see it doesn't get super tall, and then it starts mounding and going over the sides. Very easy to take care of. Does have like a small flower, but we aren't growing it for the flower. It's more the foliage color. Great plant to add into your mixed shade hanging baskets. The purple Plectranthus that's on there gets big, really big. Don't put it in a 12-inch. It's same leaf structure as the guacamole, but much bigger of a plant. Great for 18-inch and 14-inch baskets. That one does get a really nice purple flower on it, but yeah. The purple heart Tridescantia. In Florida, I didn't know this until I went to Florida, they grow these like as perennials in their yards. And they are fantastic in hanging baskets. I love them because that purple heart will take full sun, hot, all day, nonstop. It will live in the shade where it barely gets any light, no problem. It still keeps that dark purple and then has that light pink flower on the top of it. It's not full enough to be by itself. It wants other things to be with it. And it just kind of pokes in and out and around. It's a great filler for hanging baskets, really nice. And this is another Tridescantia. This one is called Sauna. Really nice. You can see it definitely kind of goes straight down and around, down the side and out. But another texture option for your hanging baskets. And what else do I have? The last one is called Bridal Veil. And it is very deceiving in that the flower is very light and airy. The foliage is very fine. But if you don't watch it, like it goes. And so it works great in a hanging basket, but it will go. But it has a very light, kind of baby's breath flower to it. Really pretty, but it can be vigorous. Only put one in like a 12-inch. Taurina is one of the last flowers. You can get this in different colors. It's one of those plants that again doesn't look all that exciting by itself, but mixed into a hanging basket, we'll look at those in a second. It's a great little way to add a different flower, a different texture to keep your shade hanging basket looking really exciting. So I like this one the best. This is the violet. It's more of a blue, would you say, Mary, than violet? It's not really purple. It's more of a blue color, in my mind. Questions? Doing okay? Ed, am I keeping you going? All right, good. All right, let's flip the page. So some of these baskets here, these are some of my favorite shade hanging basket combos. We can kind of talk, let's go through them, and I'll tell you what I mean about a lot of the things we've talked about makes more sense. So the first one, the begonia, there is no begonia in there. We have a coleus coming up the center. That one's called Lafrique. I don't know where they come up with these names, but that's the name of it. You can see the little arms coming off on the autumnal fuchsia. Has no flowers, but the gold foliage with the red is so pretty. And then the impatient that's in there is the red flame magnum. Big, beautiful flowers. You get the reds, the golds. This basket will go all summer long. Super easy to take care of. It's a really nice combination. And you go to the next one, you see that dichondra where I was talking about with the white and the silver, I think is super pretty. That has a white impatient in there. I've used the baby wing white begonias in there. I've used hula white would work in there. But just I love, to me, my flowers, I deal with enough craziness in my life. Like, I really want, when I go home, I want to relax. And to see, like, I like, in a lot of my combos, just like two colors. They each play off each other really nice. It just seems very calm and relaxing. Mary's flowers stress me out. But it depends on what you like. And that's what all of the, that's why this class is so fun. The next one there is actually a basket that somebody created in this class. There's a lot going on there, right? Like, that is not a Brian basket. But I just thought it was so beautiful. So you can see that Tarina in there. That's the little violet flower. Really pretty, but not really the star. There's a purple Magnum Impatient. There is the Great Falls Coleus coming down. And there's the Nanook Wandering Jew. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 different plants. That's a lot for me. But I thought that was beautiful. What a great way all the different flower sizes and textures came together. I really liked it. Combo number 4 has the Peachy Keen Begonia. You can see how nice and full the begonia is. It has an orange impatient. I'd have to flip back to remember the name of it. And you can't quite see it, but it has the chocolate creeping Jenny in there coming down the side of the basket. And to me, that's just a really nice ball of color. It's going to do really well. The next number 5 is the Brian combo. This is very simple and I love it. This is the Angel Falls with that Betula Red begonia. So you can kind of see how that Betula Red is kind of a smaller begonia flower. There's also some chocolate creeping Jenny in there. When you go to combo number 6, that's that Eruption Fuchsia. Last year was the first year I added that into our mixed shade combos, and it was beautiful. Just a rock star. Hot pink flowers that go all summer. I paired it with the white impatient. This one had a little bit of wire vine, which is that kind of light, airy texture in there. We have that if you'd like it, but I thought it was a great combo. That was something new last year. Number 7. This one is another great use of Nanook. I think it would be interesting this year to add Sweetness instead of Nanook, because Sweetness has that smaller flowers. I think it would be a little more dense, but I've never had it before, so I didn't have a picture of it. Pink Impatient, the gold Lysimachia, Creeping Jenny, and then the Nanook. Really great combination, I thought. And then the last one is a really good play on the chartreuse. You can see in the center here we have that spiky spider plant coming up to the center. We've got some trailing potato vine with some trailing golden Jenny and that violet Tarina. Really easy combination. Looked great all summer. I loved it. What do you think? Good? I know there's a lot. Well, and that's part of it. Now, like, how do I begin? So first way that I begin is I think about what size works for me. What size is going to fit at my home? And if I'm, most of us, 12 inches, like the easiest size to handle. I look for something that I want to put in the center. And then I'll pick, this is how I start, I pick two colors that I like. Like if it's orange and red, white and silver. And then once you kind of decide the colors you want, how it's going to give me, I want something that's going to go up, something that's going to trail, and something that's going to fill in the middle. And then you can start playing within those colors to find what works best for you. All of the Bauman staff that are here. Back here we have Kevin. Say hi, Kevin. Hello. Kevin, how long? 5, 6 years now? 5 years. Kevin does a lot of this. He helps a lot of people when they come in to figure out what you tell them. I really like this. I don't know what goes with it. Kevin will tell. He's seen enough hanging baskets now. He knows. Dee's on year 2, 3. 2. And good, Melissa's not here today. I stole Dee from Melissa because Dee helps me with all of our wholesale stuff. And she helps me make these combos, figure out, we sell it to a lot of new season markets and stuff like that. She's great, she's awesome, that's why I stole her, because I needed the help out back. Mary. We all know Mary by now. And she gets a bad rap in these, well, I shouldn't say that. She gets a very different rap than I have in these classes. Mary's been here for, we say 15 years now, but was a florist before this. I learned something new from Mary every day. And we are so lucky to have her. So if you have questions about what works well or how doesn't, she's a wealth of knowledge. By all means ask her. Barb is right next to her. Barb is on year 4 or 5. Only 3? God, it feels like forever. Barb's amazing. She's helped us out in different areas of the farm. And luckily, if you ever have questions about trees and shrubs, or you were looking for a tree or shrub for your house, that is your gal right there. She's so dedicated to every single customer. That's what I love about her most. It doesn't matter how big or small. Somebody wants this little plant, she's gonna find it. And she keeps knocking on my door until I help her find it. And she never lets anyone fall through the cracks, which I love. But if you have questions, talk to Barb. We have Ted and Miguel. They're fairly new, but they are a wealth of knowledge as well. And don't worry, we have, I was interviewing somebody today for a greenhouse job and stuff, and they ask about it. And something that's so important to me is how all of us work together, and that we all have, we're a team. Ed's here on his day off to learn about shade hanging basket class. We are so lucky at Bauman's because there's not enough family members anymore, and we needed more family, and we're lucky to have all of them. So when I get done here, they are here to help if you have any questions. Other questions from you all? Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you want a 14-inch pulp, can you order?
I can. Just write it on there, and
Okay, thanks.
Barb will remind me to make sure we find an order. Yes.
Fertilizer, you're talking about, do you have to put it in there hanging?
So fertilizer, great question. Every single hanging basket that you get from Bauman Farms, we're going to give you a packet of water-soluble fertilizer. Water-soluble fertilizer is the way to go with hanging baskets. It's going to give you your biggest bang for your buck. And my Sunday morning chore is every morning I fertilize. And even if it's hanging, you're either gonna have to pull it down, or I mix it up in a bucket, and I have a milk jug that I scoop it out and I just pour it in. But once a week, that is really going to make all the difference in the world. Like I said, you get a packet when you pick up your basket, and we sell it in these nice little bags. One bag lasts me a year or 2 years at home. It's great. It takes it's a tablespoon per gallon of water. You can by all means put granules in your hanging basket, time release like an Osmocote or something, which is great. It's just not enough. If you want a really beautiful hanging basket, you need to fertilize it at least once a week. On the farm, we do it 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But I mean, the goal is that they're going out of here into home with you within a couple weeks. Yes? Say that one more time.
Your opinion on Miracle-Gro?
Okay, so my question was my opinion on Miracle-Gro. There's a couple things that Miracle-Gro got wrong and a couple things they do right. The most important thing is there's 3 numbers on fertilizers, okay? All fertilizers, no matter where you get it. This one right here is 20-20-20. It needs to be above a 10. And it needs to have a really high first number and a really high last number. Miracle-Gro's, one of their worst marketing things is they sell you bloom boosting fertilizer. And this middle number is what they sell you as a bloom booster. All the plants today are bred and designed to bloom. They really need to worry the first number helps with the foliage, the last number helps with the roots. And as long as your foliage and your roots are taken care of, it will work. So if you have Miracle-Gro at home, just make sure that first number and that last number are high, above a 10. Triple 12, triple 15, triple 20 is what I sell because I know most of you are only going to do this once a week, which is all I do at home. And I think it's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. But by all means, look at those numbers and that'll tell you. During the summertime, we use a 15-0-15. I don't even care about that middle number. It's all about the foliage, it's all about the roots. Triple 20 is fine because remember, we're going to flush out the fertilizer once a week. So anything it doesn't use, we'll get. But just watch those numbers on your Miracle-Gro.
Flowering quince.
Flowering quince. Barb, do we have any flowering quince right now? We do. Barb's your gal on that. I will say quickly on pests. First and foremost, if you ever have something that you are unsure about or you think you might have a bug, whatever, Jessica's your gal. Take a picture, send it to her, and we will help. You can always bring it by, happy to take a look. Because depending on what it is really what you need to do. Spider mites are the biggest bummer on a fuchsia. I hate spider mites. And living in the Willamette Valley with so much hay and like combine dust in the air and stuff during the summer, spider mites are just flowing around and you really need a miticide or something to take care of it. Spider mites, you will see a web on the tips, on the new growth, that's where they attack first. And if you see that webbing, take a picture, send it to Jessica, we can confirm it for you. But an insecticide does not work. You have to have a miticide. Certain horticultural oils will help, and we can help you with that. Aphids are fairly easy, and there are different types of aphids. A lot of these things can get aphids, but we can help with that. One of the best things about a shade combo is you really don't deal with the cutworms like you do with petunias, geraniums, and some of those others. It's not nearly as big of an issue with most shade hanging baskets. So that's a broad overview, but by all means, we're happy to help. Yeah, it's a mite. It needs to be a mite. It needs to specifically attack mites. Yeah.
Is that
It's not a brand name. It's the type of reaction. Yeah.
spider?
For spider mites. Happy to help when we get there. I know it's kind of a lot in 30 seconds. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you coming out. I know it's nice to be out of the ice. So we love seeing everyone. Thank you very much. And we are here to answer any questions. You're very welcome.